This is King Cam with Ujumbe podcast and Ujumbe Needs Message. I am glad that you guys are here one more time. This is Friday. And it's about to rain, so I'm trying to get down to the business, but I'm glad that you guys are here. Much love to all those who are following, who are listening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We are on every platform, almost everywhere. But I am glad that you guys are here. Shout out to the Ellis County African American Hall of Fame Museum. Shout out to Peachy Cam Events and Designs, Irie Foods and everything, Pan African Bookstore. Really appreciate you guys. Much love to the fam. All right. But without any further ado, let's get down to the business. I am very excited about this information. I have read this book quite a few times, but it seems like every time I read it, I get something new. So let's get down to the business. All right, let's go. All right, we are in session 6. This is night school. I hope you brought your school supplies. If not, you need to get it. Get your pen, paper, something to write on, something to write with. I am once again glad that you guys are here hanging with me one more time on the King Cam Ujumbe podcast. Remember this, we are in chapter 3. This is the last part, because chapter 3 in this book, The Lost Cities of Africa, was very, very busy. It was very heavy. And so we're going to finalize this chapter on today. And we're going to ask about, what about the other cities? That's the message today. What about the other states and cities in the Bill Alley, Sudan? What about the other places? Yeah. All right. This course is an introduction to African history geared just for you, and it's designed to foster a life of learning. Okay. I understand that we have our beloved Dr. John Henry Clark. We have Dr. Joy. We have Shahrazad. We have many others. Dr. Ben, so many others. This kind of gets you ready for them. This is like as if you have never ever listened to anything on YouTube or following anybody. This is just an introduction. Okay, this is like African History 101, right? All right, so we can do this once a week. We go over a few readings on the continent, and a lot of people. The reason why I'm doing this segment or this concept is because a lot of people ask, are there any other civilizations in Africa outside of Kemet? I have an answer for you, but we're going to use this little map here. There are so many regions. You just pick so many sub-regions in Africa: Northern Africa, West, Central, Eastern, Southern. So many cities, so many civilizations in the continent. We just can't name one, and we just can't stop at one. But I believe The Lost Cities of Africa by Basil Davidson, he covers it pretty well. If you haven't got the book, check it out. Go to the library. I don't think it's a PDF format. I don't think so. I got the good old copy. Yeah, it's it's all used up. But get you one. All right, check it out. But I think Basil Davidson, even though I may not agree with everything he says, he's pretty thorough. Okay, he traverses Africa in a comprehensive way. Okay, so he kind of groups everybody or by location, by region. All right, so remember last week we asked the question, what is Ujumbe? Do you remember? I kind of gave you the answer, but we're gonna see. What is Ujumbe? We talked about that last week. What is that? And what is Harambe? Talked about that last week. If you have not seen that video or listened to that podcast, check it out. But you know why we're here. We're here to identify and discuss the major concepts of the books entitled The Lost Cities of Africa in chapter 3. Here are the main questions, or the essential questions we're going to try to answer. Were there any other cities or empires outside of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai? Normally, when we talk about West Africa, when we talk about the medieval West Africa, we normally hang our hat or just pause at Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. I have learned some other things. I realized there was people, there was cities and civilizations in between that. There was Mali and Songhai and Ghana on the far western end, but there was some places in between. Who were they? Where were they? Yeah. All right. Did they use a different script to communicate? That's the definition of civilization. Okay? Having a written language. That's part of it. All right? And did you know about the small crown jewel? They had one. Let's get to it. All right. Now, we still in the kingdoms of Old Sudan. The Bilal of Sudan, or is the land of the blacks, term used by the Arab travelers who wrote about this region. In this chapter, it simply meant Western Sudan or west of Sudan. It spans 4,000 miles, beginning at the country of Sudan, from Sudan to Mali. That is a lot. You could put the United States in that space and you still have room. That is vast. That is mind-blowing. All right? But now, let's get down to it. Chapter 3, he highlights, this is the latter part of chapter 3, where Basil Davidson, he highlights the Sao and Kanem. Okay? The Sao and Kanem. And according to Davidson, the other states and cities underwent gradual transformation. So we had, I'm sorry, skipping all over the place, but there, like I mentioned, there was other cities outside of Ghana, Mali and Songhai. According to Basil Davidson, other states and cities underwent gradual transformation. Families joined together. The Mandinka, the Songhai, the Hausa states formed in northern Nigeria. Shout out to Hausa land, Kano, many others. They became, families became cities, and they just developed. And what happened? The Kenem would emerge. I'm going to spell it. The Kenem, I may be mispronouncing it. Help me out, fam. Kanem would emerge. This group would emerge it's a crazy area. It's not far west over there, but it's not far east over in Sudan. They're right in the middle. Okay, they're around the Chad area, northern Cameroon, northern Nigeria. Man, it's like they're the go-between. It was the in-between people. Okay, but they can stand on their own. Shout out to them. Much love to them. The Kanem was the largest of the many states. Its origins would go back to the same period as the Songhai. So they kind of rose and fell about the same time. And this is on page 104 in the book, okay? And so the Bornu would succeed Kanem as a powerhouse in the area. So you normally hear them interchangeably. Nowadays, Kanem Bornu is a state, a recognized state. And so we have to give them their due. And so Kanem is largest of many states. They go back to Songhai, and they are located right between Sudan and Mali and Niger. They're in Chad, the northern Nigeria, and Cameroon. They're right there in the middle. Okay? Pretty interesting. Okay? Now, we have the Kanem, and then we also have the Sao civilization. Who are they? They lived along Lake Chad. The Sao and Lake Chad became the bridge that connected the Nile Valley civilization to the West empires. These people and places were not isolated. They were not by themselves. If people ever want to know how the Nile Valley civilization and culture traversed across the continent, or even how Western civilization and culture, because we talked about the ancient people that lived in Nigeria and those areas and how they would move back and forth. This was the place. Lake Chad, okay, the South civilization, okay? Now, they did some excavations in that area. They did some digging. Of course, while everybody was fighting, the French people decided to do some finessing. Okay, did you hear what I said? While they was out there fighting, the French was finessing. Okay? They call it excavation. They call it discovery. You should have been busy fighting in World War II, during the 1930s and 40s, but I digress. Not my business. But they found between the Nile River and the Jura, the successors of the South called the Kotoko people, or the Kotoko civilization. Why are they important? Why was they a big deal? The Kotoko wrote in their own language with an Arabic script. This is the thing that caught my attention. Yes, like I said, I read this and I studied and things like that, but this was like a wow thing for me, because most of the time we would use another language and that would be our language. That is an ingenious thing to do, to fuse your own language in the middle of another language. But then when I think about it, why did they do that? Why did the Kotoko people decide to place their language in another language? Did they realize change was coming? Was it because of rebellion? Was it because of oppression? Y'all tell me. Think about it. Why did they do that? Y'all can tell me. Y'all can, comment down below, share out. What do you think? All right, fam that lives out there. Much love to the fam that's out there. What do you think? Okay, and I do. The funny part is when I think about the African American experience, when we have been through things, when we have gone through things, and we have expressed ourselves even using someone else's language. We call it slang, we call it street talk, we call it ebonics or whatever, but we would make new meanings with the words that are given to us. Just a thought, just thinking about it, but it's brilliant though, nonetheless. They put their own language in Arabic script. I want to see this. I haven't been able to find it in this time, but hopefully I'll be able to check it out. All right, the Kotoko people, shout out. All right, now, also the Kanem Empire was associated with the rule of the Safua dynasty. Okay, so we have to understand, Kemet was not the only place that had dynasties. Kemet wasn't the only place. There were so many other dynasties in and around the continent that, you couldn't just count one. It was many. So the Kanem Empire was associated with the rule of the Safua dynasty. They had their own way of governing themselves. They had what they call a Great Council. Okay, the Great Council were 12 principal officers of the empires who discussed and applied the more important decision of the ruling sultan. Okay, but what does that teach us? As leaders, I know you guys are leaders in your various industries, various areas. What does this idea of having other people do some great work for you? No, we're not talking about menial tasks like you just copy and paper. No, we're talking about delegation. We can't do it all by ourselves. And this is the wisdom that our African people, our African ancestors have given us. We see it all the time. So many people in our jobs, in our various industries, get burnt out. Why? Because they don't know how to delegate. There's somebody talented in that area. You need that work done, give it to them. It's not taking anything away from you. It's not taking no power away from you. Yeah, I am the department chair for my beloved social studies department. There's some things I know I cannot do. I am straight pen and paper type. That's what that is. But I have some wonderful teachers that are tech savvy and they can run it. And all you need is a QR code. I said, show us, and they do it. See, it takes nothing away. Okay, it adds value to what you're doing. So if you guys have your own business, if you guys are or even running your own organizations, seek out people who are talented in various areas, especially things that you need to get done. Okay. So when it took you a year to get done, it may take you less than 6 months. Okay. But you're still a leader, because the reality is, let me pause for a minute. Real leaders make leaders. Okay. Not other followers. I'm just saying, I know this is Friday. I know we're trying to get down with the get down, but the reality is, real leaders make leaders. They do not make other followers, because in a minute I have to step down and I have to find somebody that is better than me and do it way at a higher level than I can ever think of. You see what I'm saying? So real leaders make leaders, and this is what the Kanem Empire and so many other African leaders done during this time. They had a council. We had our own form of democracy. Okay, we had our own way of seeing to the needs of the people. They had a great council. Some you guys seen the Black Panther, the first one, but they had a council. The elders came. Yes, there was a king. However, the king consulted with the elders of the community. So that's what Kanem Empire was doing. And let's get to it further east. We're still in the Basil Sudan. We're still traveling. Okay, we're still moving, but we're going eastward, because I'm noticing a pattern. See, Davidson moves further east into the edge of the Basil Sudan to talk about what place? Darfur. He started at the west coast, Mali, Senegal. Then he gradually brought us over through this book to Sudan, Darfur. Where is that? That's the western Sudan, close to Chad, right at the edge. Right there where east meets west for real. So this is a place that one can conclude that the life and culture of East Africa was connected to West Africa through where? Darfur. It was so many bridges, but this was one of those connecting points. Okay, while Europe was enduring the War of Roses, the lands between Niger and the Nile were not disturbed. While they were throwing hands and everything up there up north, the people, Africans, were being African. And I love it. Okay? And so we have to get back to that. We have to love ourselves and handle our own business and stay out of other folk. Okay? We have great things that we have to do. But yes, Darfur is at the far edge of Sudan, right close to Chad, right there. Now, keep in mind, 300 years before the 16th century, caravans traveled back and forth between the Nile and the Niger. This was a thing. They did it, and they did it well. Still doing it. There are also, now, let me pause. There are also Christian kingdoms in the middle of the Nile during this time. Okay, we have to understand, everybody was not under the Islamic faith or say under the natural African customs. There were Christian kingdoms during this time. Gotta bust some of your bubble. I read it and they were there. But this is amazing. Like I said, this is an amazing concept about this. Because which Christian kings was out there? They were in Nubia, Christian kingdoms of Nubia, such as Makuria. They built chapels and tabernacles all along the Nile in Sudan. Still exist. Okay, and so before Sudan was overwhelmed by Islam, the Nubians of the Nile were Christian, but African Christians. They have their own theology, their own seminaries before Rome, before Martin Luther, before John Piper, before Calvin, before Calvinism, before all this. These people, these Africans, had their own theology, their own seminaries before Rome or the Orthodox Church. The Egyptian Coptic Church, and the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. Shout out to the fam in East Africa. They they've been doing this. They've been doing this thousands of years before Greece and Rome was doing it. I mean, before who else? Italy, before Germany and all them cats, you know? So it's okay, you know, really it is. Okay, I'm just letting folks know. There was a form of African Christianity untainted by the Europeans. Did some work on it. There is a book on it. I gotta find that book by Salim Farji. He did a great work on the triumph of the last pharaoh concerning Christianity in Nubia by Salim Farji. He did a great work on that. Shout out to him. All right, so moving on. Now, what were the lost cities? We're almost done. What were the lost cities? The city of Jabril Uri is one of the largest of the lost cities, according to Basil Davidson, one of the largest of the lost cities of Africa. Lost cities. I have never heard of Jabril Uri. Never heard of this place. I would like to believe, though. I think it's called Bahir al-Jabal now. Bahir al-Jabal. I think that's in the White Nile in Sudan. I think that's what it's called now. Okay. And the small crown jewel is Ain Farah. All these places are found in Sudan. These are some of those lost cities. I heard of Ghana. I heard of Mali. I heard of Songhai. Kanem Borno. I'm just now getting an understanding of that. But Bahir al-Jabal and Ain Farah, never heard of this place. Learn something new every day. All right. So this is the King Cam and Ujumbe's podcast. Ujumbe Meets Message. We just got done with chapter 3, the Old Kingdoms of the Old Sudan. What about the other cities? Now it does end west the Basil Sudan. This chapter ends with, of course, the invasion of the foreigners. It ended, of course, there was the Moors, the stories of the Moors, and many others. But those were things that I believe that was like common knowledge. But I wanted to highlight some things that was new to almost everyone. Okay, so we talked about the other cities outside of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. We talked about them. So let's recap. Okay, were there any other cities or empires outside of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai? You sure were. When we think about West Africa, medieval West Africa, African empires of the West, we normally name them, but we just got some new ones. We got some new cards on the deck. We got Kanem Borno and the Sao people. Okay, I did give you the answer, but I like this too, right? Did they use a different script to communicate? They did, but which group did it? All right, did they use a different script to communicate? And did you know about the small crown jewel? All right, you got to comment. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. All right, but what's next? Next week we will discuss chapter 4. We're going to get into Central Africa now. Chapter 4. Let's get down with it. And for more on the Basil Sudan, check out Home Team. Sankofa Pan-African series is really good. Okay. Very good. I love them. Books with Al-Ghazali and A.E. Learning. Great YouTube videos, great information, very knowledgeable people. And read chapter 4. Okay. And prayers. Let's pray for peace and unity and stability for our family in the Sahel region, y'all. Yeah, I know our attention has been hijacked with other groups of people everywhere else, but our family, the house of the Tuareg, Fulani, the Bambara, Mandinka, many others, they still going through it. And much love to the family out there in Ethiopia. The Amhara is going through it. Okay? But we have to unite, y'all. We have to love each other and take care of each other, all right? So, really quick, this show, King Cam and Ujumbe podcast and Ujumbe Meets Message, this show has been brought to you by all the fam. Goodness. Peachy Cam Events and Designs, Pan-African Bookstore, and the Ellis County African American Hall of Fame and Museum. Much love to all of them. And Kemet Nubia Camp, shout out to them. And I'm looking forward to it. We are available in every platform, in every space. So I thank you guys for that. And I hope all is well with you. And I have no other words to say. I'm like I would tell my students, I am done saying words. And I will talk to you guys later. Peace.